Good evening, everybody. My name is Specialist Chavez, and this evening I will be giving a briefing on training or educating leaders. Today's briefing will be unclassified. So before we begin, I want to say that our overall risk assessment is low. Just want to make you all aware of a few things, a few hazards. Any wires, make sure that they are out of the way so that we're not tripping on them. Any drinks that have anything other than water, please don't bring them into the classroom. Water is fine with a lid. We don't want any spills. Try to stay awake today. Power through this thing. In case of any fire, weather, active shooter, move to a safe location and we will send accountability up, okay? I want to say that we are a green army, so remember to reduce, reuse, recycle, and clean up after ourselves, okay? Excuse me. Exit is to the back right of the classroom, and if you need to use the latrine, then it is out of the exit to the left. So on today's agenda, we'll be going over the introduction, we'll be talking about educating leaders, training leaders, the conclusion, and any questions. So, during my briefing today, you'll be informed on the importance and values of educating and training leaders in the different areas that both things entail. We're going to go over why leaders need to put an importance on both things and why they are both equally as important. So, first things first, I wanted to bring up STEP. STEP is Select, Train, Educate, and Promote. It is an Army program that has been implemented so that there's a set career path through the ranks. The top bullet is the Army definition, and the second bullet is the definition that I put in plain English. Are there any questions? Okay. So the differences between education and training. I'm going to read this off verbatim, and then we're going to go over it a bit more in the next couple slides, all right? So, Army definition of leadership: a structured process to impart knowledge through teaching and learning to enable or enhance an individual's ability to perform in unknown situations. Instruction with increased knowledge, skill, and or experience as the desired outcome for the student. This is in contrast to training, where a task or performance basis is used and specific conditions and standards are used to assess individual and unit proficiency. And right there it says AR 350-1. So, education. So education, it leads to further advancement in the higher ranks. So going to college, and any of the leadership courses that I am about to talk about in the next couple of slides. Education, it makes leaders more versatile for the unknowns that they may face in the mission. And it expands the knowledge and the frame of reference of the world so that it just makes it easier for somebody to attack a problem from all angles, which is something that can really only be found through, education through outside sources and going to school and whatnot. So to summarize what we just read, education is a structured process to gain knowledge, and training is a task basis used to measure performance. So, NCOPDS, Non-Commissioned Officer Professional Development System. So, this is the new program that the Army has come out with, and basically it consists of all of the leadership courses, so BLC, ALC, SLC, MLC, Sergeant Major's Academy. This is like a guided path that the Army has set to make sure that you will be able to go through the ranks if you follow all of these steps. Back in the old Army, maybe 15-20 years ago, it was a lot different. It was kind of based off of like experience and like maybe right place, right time, battlefield promotions stuff. That kind of stuff isn't really the way anymore. You have to go through these courses to progress to the NCO ranks specifically. ROTC, that is for college officer training. So that's another education avenue through the military. And also the Army emphasizes and encouraging college classes. So nowadays the Army is always telling people that, don't let the tuition assistance go to waste. Make sure you're taking college classes, getting them out of the way so that you're set up for the Army or outside the Army. So moving on to training. So as was stated in the AR from the regulation earlier, training is to test proficiency, sharpen the soldier's skills. So this is like your everyday Army soldier skills that you need to learn. So this can fall into the category of Army schools such as airborne, air assault, other things like that. So these are good for getting ahead in your Army career in the very early days. And even later in your Army career, they're still important to make sure that you have the experience and the training that you need to be a successful soldier, be an all-around soldier, and a great leader so that you can lead people through these experiences. So if you have these schools, you're going to instantly relate better to other soldiers that have these schools. So it's never too late to hop into one of these Army schools and get that training that you need. Training, it can also be sharpening skills that have already been learned. So this can be like, well, let me move on to the next slide. Weapons training. So weapons training, like I said, so that's something that we learn. We learn how to shoot, but we always have to sharpen those skills. We have to go to the range once every year. And then, BCT, AIT, that would also count as training because this is where you are you are molded as a soldier for the future. Obviously, BCT and AIT, they have education in them, especially depending on what kind of AIT you went to. Like you are going to need some schoolwork. I'm a medic, so I have to have EMT. That would count as education. So airborne air assault, online training, that counts as training also. So JKO, the anti-terrorism classes. Like I said, I'm a medic, so they have me doing a lot of JKO courses to be able to do something like work in the clinic. I have to always be training up and recertifying all my vaccination classes, and other certain things that I just have to do with patient health care. So these are all things that we have to resharpen our skills on, that we have to recert every year, because you can forget these things. And obviously it depends on what job you have, is what kind of courses you're going to be taking. So simulators, like rollover training, there's also the training for like the AR, augmented reality, where you can shoot basically it's like a video game. You shoot at a range with a red dot and an M4 that looks like a real one, but it uses the computers and whatnot. Land navigation, that also falls into the realm of training. So leaders need to be educated. So how both are important to each other, Leaders need to be educated and trained to be the best effective leaders for soldiers, okay? One is not going to go good without the other. I think everybody can agree that a leader that is educated, has a good understanding of what is going on, how to deal with the mission, and if they are trained into being a soldier, they're obviously going to relate to soldiers better and just be an all-around better soldier, knowing their soldier tasks, what they're supposed to be doing, and making sure that their skills are sharpened, as I've said, and everything that entails being a soldier. So training and education, they're both equally as important in progressing a soldier's career. A lot of these things that I've mentioned, like moving through the ranks, you really can't do one without the other. You're going to need to prove that you were trained in the basic warrior skills that you need. And education, you're going to need it to be able to move through the higher ranks. I think it's after E7, or by E7, you have to have some college degrees or college credits before you can move on to any more ranks. So in summary, education and training are equally as important. Both have the opportunity for career growth. And I want to leave you all with this quote: leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. And that is by JFK. And I think that just basically sums up everything that I just said. So, at this time, are there any questions? Okay, thank you. That concludes my brief.